can AI write a better Resident Evil movie compared to Hollywood? And so in today's video, what we're essentially doing is we're going to be having all of the Resident Evil movie synopsis, and we're basically going to be seeing if AI can write a better Resident Evil movie synopsis and seeing which one is better. And it is worth noting that since there's so many Paul W.S. Anderson movies, there's literally 6, to keep things fair, we're not going to read all of the synopsis for all of those movies. We're just going to be comparing the first one of that movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, and the Netflix Resident Evil live action show that came out last year. Now, for those of you that don't know, the ones that are responsible for all of the bad Resident Evil movies that we've had throughout the years is Constantine Films. They're the ones that have the sole movie rights to Resident Evil. And they're the reasons why we keep getting bad Resident Evil movies. So the first synopsis that we'll have a look at is the first Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil movie. Resident Evil 2002. Based on the popular video game, Milla Jovovich and Michelle Rodriguez star as the leaders of a commando team who must break into the Hive, a vast underground genetics laboratory operated by the powerful Umbrella Corporation. There, a deadly virus has been unleashed, killing the lab's personnel and resurrecting them as the evil undead. The team has just 3 hours to shut down the lab's supercomputer and close the facility before the virus threatens to overrun the Earth. Now, it is worth noting as well that a lot of Resident Evil fans actually like this. They actually think that this is probably their favorite Resident Evil movie. That and also Apocalypse, which are both directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. And the reason people like this is because I guess it was just a different take to Resident Evil. Now, it is worth noting that all of the characters that are in the first Resident Evil movie have nothing to do with the games. They're all original characters that were brought for this movie. Like, this is not a faithful game at all. And sure enough, a couple of days ago, I actually saw somebody that mentioned that the Paul W.S. Anderson movies were the most faithful to the games. This is highly incorrect. Now, as many of you guys know, and I've stated this several times, I am not a fan of the Paul W.S. Anderson movies, mostly because they're so different from the video games. I've talked to so many people that aren't actual Resident Evil fans. They're just people that watch the movies, and in their heads, they think that the movies is what the games are. And so if anything, one of the things that I don't like about the Paul W.S. Anderson movies is that there's a lot of misinformation about Resident Evil if you watch those movies and those movies alone. Like, you don't play the games. So at the end of the day, that's probably one of the biggest reasons why I'm not the biggest fan of the Paul W.S. Anderson movies. They rank really low. Okay, next up, we'll actually move on to Welcome to Raccoon City, which was actually the reboot of the Resident Evil movies. We'll look at the synopsis, but it is worth noting, if you guys don't know, this is probably my favorite out of all of them. Now, it is worth noting that when I say favorite, I don't mean that I think that this is the best movie ever. If anything, I'm just saying that out of all of the bad Resident Evil movies, I rank Welcome to Raccoon City highest, mostly because unlike the Paul W.S. Anderson movies, Welcome to Raccoon City actually tried to incorporate a lot of the game's story, even though it was a huge mess. A lot of the movie felt like it was just rushed after the 20-minute mark, as I've stated in my review. But for that reason alone, that it actually tried to incorporate a lot of the story from, Resident Evil 1 game and Resident Evil 2, it gives my vote for the best Resident Evil movies. So anyways, let's read the synopsis. Welcome to Raccoon City. Once the booming home of the pharmaceutical giant Umbrella Corp, the company's exodus left the city a wasteland, a dying town with great evil brewing below the surface. When that evil is unleashed, a group of survivors must work together to uncover the truth behind Umbrella and make it through the night. And now we'll go over the worst Resident Evil adaptation ever, in my opinion. This one basically ranks a 0. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Paul W.S. Anderson movies that rank a 0 for me. Like, for example, Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, which was the last Paul W.S. Anderson movie, and Resident Evil Extinction. Those I hated. And same goes for Netflix's Resident Evil show. So let's read the synopsis for the Netflix Resident Evil show, and then we'll see what Chat GPT says. Resident Evil 2022. The series' main plot is spread out over 2 points in time, 2022 and 2036, with a gap of some 14 years. The past plotline deals with the struggles of a 14-year-old fraternal twins, Billy and Jade, the children of Dr. Albert Wesker, conceived through suspicious circumstances. Their lives take a dramatic turn when Albert is awarded an executive position at the struggling Umbrella Corporation that once employed him, and they move to Umbrella's planned community, New Raccoon City. While there, the two girls stumble onto a dark secret behind their origins and Umbrella's dark legacy. Their father coordinates a response to the outbreak of a retroviral bioweapon called the T-virus. In the present of 2036, the T-virus has reduced human civilization to 300 million million refugees living in walled city-states and other settlements surrounded by 6 billion man-eating humans known as Zeros who contracted the disease. The most powerful organization left on Earth is the Umbrella Corporation, backed by its military arsenal, who are conducting a global manhunt for Jade. So now we'll ask ChatGPT to write me a Resident Evil movie synopsis based on the first Resident Evil game, Resident Evil: The Mansion of Shadows. Now, this is actually a pretty great title. I ain't gonna lie, this right here is starting off really strong. So what it basically says is Resident Evil: Mansion of Shadows is a thrilling action horror film based on the iconic first installment of the Resident Evil video game franchise. Set in the late 1990s, the story follows a team of elite special tactics and rescue services STARS members as they embark on a mission to investigate the mysterious disappearance of their comrades in the outskirts of Raccoon City. The film begins with STARS Alpha team led by the resourceful Jill Valentine and the skilled Chris Redfield being dispatched to a secluded Spencer mansion. The mansion is owned by the notorious Umbrella Corporation, a powerful pharmaceutical conglomerate rumored to conduct illegal experiments. As they explore the eerie mansion, the team encounters a series of grotesque biological mutations and realize that they have entered a deadly trap. As the survivors delve deeper into the mansion's dark secrets, they uncover the truth about the T-virus, a highly contagious and mutagenic substance created by Umbrella Corporation. They must face hordes of flesh-eating zombies, deadly traps, and genetically engineered creatures that stalk the corridors. Amidst the chaos, they encounter enigmatic characters such as the enigmatic scientist Albert Wesker, the mysterious Ada Wong, and the tormented Lisa Trevor. Now, you guys probably noticed that there was an error there, that they did state that you would encounter Ada Wong. Now, it is worth mentioning that the first Resident Evil game, you don't encounter Ada Wong, but you do get a mention of her, since we do know later on in the story that, she was trying to extract information out of Umbrella by dating one of its employees. The tension escalates as the STARS team unravels the intricate web of deceptions surrounding the mansion. Betrayal, backstabbing, hidden agendas emerge, pushing the survivors to their limits. As they struggle to stay alive, the group uncovers Umbrella Corporation's ultimate objective: to create bioorganic weapons for profit and global dominance. As the survivors fight their way through unimaginable horrors, they must confront their fears, work together, and find a way to escape the mansion before it becomes their grave. Each character faces personal demons, testing their loyalty, resolve, and sanity. The film builds to an intense climax as the surviving members confront the monstrous tyrant, a superhuman creature designed to be the ultimate killing machine. Resident Evil: Mansion of Shadows is a heart-pounding and atmospheric journey that combines elements of survival horror, intense action, and psychological suspense. It stays true to the game's iconic locations, creatures, and characters while adding its own cinematic flair. Prepare for a white-knuckle thrill ride that will keep audiences on the edge of their seats as the surviving STARS members fight to survive and expose Umbrella's corporation's sinister experiments to the world. Alright, so that was ChatGPT's movie synopsis for a Resident Evil movie. All in all, I think that ChatGPT did a phenomenal job, and I think that, if they were to make this into a movie, I think this would be, 10 times better than what we've actually received from all the other Resident Evil movies. It also begs the question, why hasn't, Constantine Films made a good Resident Evil movies after so many years? If they're that incompetent, if they're that incapable of making a good Resident Evil movies that a lot of Resident Evil fans will love, then you know what? They should probably just pass the reins to another production company. Because as we've just seen right here, ChatGPT just wrote a better movie synopsis than any other Resident Evil movie that they've made. And for those of you that are unaware, Constantine Films isn't giving up. If anything, we just got new information stating that Constantine Films is working on another Resident Evil movie. So click this video if you guys want to know more information about that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this funny video, and thanks for watching.